Local crime and public safety. Court upholds $366 million penalty for bond company that defrauded migrants. The company, Libra by Nexus, was the subject of a Washington Post investigation years before the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and 3 states took it to court. October 14, 2025 at 5 a.m. EDT. Today at 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 4 minutes. Summary. A Libra by Nexus electronic ankle bracelet. Stuart Pally / for the Washington Post. By Salvador Rizzo. A federal appeals court panel upheld a $366 million penalty against a Virginia-based company that provided bonds to migrants facing deportation, finding that it deceived and abused those immigrant consumers by charging exorbitant fees for services it failed to deliver. Get concise answers to your questions. Try Ask the Post AI. The U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Attorneys General of New York, Massachusetts, and Virginia sued Libra by Nexus in 2021, accusing the bond company of using fraudulent practices such as getting Spanish-speaking clients to sign English-language contracts they didn't fully understand while requiring them to pay for tracking devices that often did not work. The lawsuit was filed after a 2017 investigation by the Washington Post found some of the company's clients were startled to have GPS monitors the size of cigarette packs strapped to their ankles and could not afford the $420 monthly fee the company charged for them. Libra, which means free in Spanish, threatened legal action against clients who didn't pay the fees, saying they would be referred for deportation and their accounts sold to collection agencies. The company had faced a raft of federal and state investigations. Cherry Blossom. Follow D.C. Region. Follow. A federal trial had been scheduled for early 2023, but it was cancelled after Libra did not fully comply with its obligation to turn over evidence to the CFPB and state attorneys general. U.S. District Judge Elizabeth K. Dillon in Roanoke entered a default judgment against the company, ordering $811 million in restitution and civil penalties. A 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit upheld a lower but still whopping $366 million judgment against the company in a ruling issued last week. From that pool, the migrant consumers, 2,840 in Virginia, 2,778 in New York and 680 in Massachusetts, are owed approximately $231 million in restitution, the court said. The rest is owed in civil penalties of approximately $111.1 million to the CFPB, $13.9 million to New York, $7.1 million to Virginia and $3.4 million to Massachusetts. Put simply, the defendants refused to meaningfully participate in discovery, including by failing to respond to the plaintiff's discovery requests, ignoring multiple court orders compelling the disclosure of documents and other information, and by disregarding pertinent deadlines, Judge Robert B. King wrote for the court, criticizing the bond company's blatant misconduct in this litigation. The appeals court's opinion did not address the discrepancy between the initial $811 million monetary judgment against the company and its officers, and the final penalty, totaling about $366.5 million. But it appears to be in how the appellate court handled civil penalties for violating the Federal Consumer Financial Protection Act of 2010. In a March 2024 order, Dillon said the 5 defendants named in the lawsuit, Libra, its chief executive, Mike Donovan, the parent company, Nexus Services, and Donovan's associates, Richard Moore and Evan Agin, each had to pay a $111 million civil penalty to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau within 10 days. Each defendant has violated the CFPA, warranting civil money penalties of $111,135,620 from each defendant to the CFPB, Dillon's order says. The judge also issued an injunction prohibiting the bond company from engaging in fraudulent practices and placing ankle monitors on migrants. The appellate panel upheld a single $111.1 million civil penalty owed to the Consumer Protection Bureau. Spokespersons for the CFPB and an attorney for the bond company, Zach Lawrence, did not respond to requests for comment Monday. Migrants in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement who are facing deportation are allowed to post bond while they await court hearings if they are not considered a flight risk or a threat to public safety. The median bond was $7,500 in 2018, according to the Consumer Protection Bureau and Attorneys General. Lawrence, the attorney for Libra by Nexus, argued on appeal that Dillon had abused her discretion by imposing a vague and overly broad injunction. In essence, this was an $800 million first-instance discovery sanction levied on a business, and its owners, that in the totality of its existence grossed a bit over $200 million, he said in a court filing. In a statement to the Post last year, Donovan called Dillon's sanctions offensive. Skip to end of carousel. Make the most of the DMV with our newsletter. The Washington Post. Make living in D.C. a little easier and more fun. Sign up for the Post local newsletter to get local news, weather, and expert advice, where to eat, where to drink, and how to get around, every weekday.